Welcome to Sayless Projects. We believe in the power of shared stories to inspire action and possibility and to bring hope to people who need it most. Through storytelling and purposeful action, we promote mental health awareness and support efforts to prevent suicide. You'll hear from a wide range of guests, runners, creators, leaders, and everyday people, sharing what they have lived, what they have learned, and what helped them keep going. The truth is, none of this is meant to be carried alone. If you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or tired, you are not alone. This is the art of doing something about it. Welcome back to the Art of Doing Something About It, Austin edition. We're here with the people running from Dallas to Austin for year 3, and I'm excited to have my friend Robin Marquardt with me. Welcome to the show. Welcome to, or you should welcome me to your city. So Robin, tell me a little bit about your story, like where you grew up, how you got to Austin, that kind of stuff.
Yep, originally from Portland, Oregon, or that's what I tell most people. I'm actually from a very, very small town called Gaston, Oregon.
Okay.
So farm girl at heart, even though don't quite look it. And then I've been in Austin for about 8 years now. I love it. It is everything that Oregon is not, which is sunny.
Yeah.
Yes, and great community, great people. So yeah, I definitely don't see myself leaving anytime soon.
The only thing I know about Oregon, is it true they have like good coffee and good food trucks?
Great food trucks. That's like pretty much what I lived on when I was down there. Great beer as well as what they're known for. And then, of course, the cold and great weather, too.
Yeah. What brought you to Austin? Was it work or?
I wish it was a really exhilarating story, but one of my friends was moving down here and he was like, hey, do you want to move down to Austin? And I kind of had a moment where I was like, what is my life like here? I'd worked service industry for forever. And I kind of was the most like B-type thing I've ever done as an A-type human being. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so I moved down here, did service industry for a little while, and then transitioned into hair, which is what I do now. So. Okay,
awesome. And then tell me how you got into this active lifestyle that you live today.
Yeah, that is definitely, I would say, a little bit newer for me. I grew up a little bit doing sports in like high school and stuff like that, and I think that's where I enjoy the competitiveness or my competitive like edge comes from. And then like most people, didn't really happen in like early 20s and things like that. I started weightlifting a little bit and really enjoyed the strength and power of that probably 2.5 to 3 years ago, but was never a runner. I actually used to make fun of my friends or clients. I was like, why would you run? What's wrong with you? Are you okay? Those things tend to come back and bite you as you get older, I've learned. But yeah, I picked it up one day. I actually heard about high rocks and I was like, okay, cool. I know the strength aspect. Now I just need to learn how to run. And so it started with 1 mile. And then like most good things, it kind of turned into this insane thing. Signed up for a 10K. Once I realized that that was what I really loved, it was the process of training and who I became in that more than the actual race. That was like my first taste of it. And then it grew into a half marathon, which I went back to Oregon for, and then quickly somersaulted into my first Ironman 70.3. So
wow,
yeah.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
I love making sure we like share the origin story because it's a dangerous world we live in where people see the Ironman version of you and think like, oh, I can never, but they don't know about the 1 mile version of you of like you were scared to run a mile.
I was terrified.
Yeah. Do you remember like what that was like?
Absolutely.
That first?
Like clear as day. And I think you're so right. Like I want people to remember that as well. We all start somewhere. And I think it's so easy, especially with social media or being in communities where people are doing such insane things that you don't remember everyone started somewhere. And so it's really important for me to remind people of that because I get that in the chair all the time. Oh, I could never do what you did. And I'm like, I started off at ground zero, you know, just like everyone else. But yes, to answer your question, I do remember that moment. And I was terrified. I told myself, I was like, you just have to make it through the mile. Like, just don't stop. Like, that's all. If you get through 1 mile, that is the biggest success. And I remember the feeling on that mile. And I was like, oh my God, can I actually accomplish something that I never thought that I would? So yeah, I remember that very, very clearly.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you already kind of have a bit of a say less mentality. So when Haley actually approached you about doing this, what was your initial thought of running from Dallas to Austin? Like, why did you say less?
Yeah. Well, first, I was honored because obviously I know Haley and her journey. And that definitely inspired me to be open about my journey and what got me into running, or I guess what kept me into running as well. So, what made me say yes to this was I really, really like the idea of inspiring people through action. And like we were just talking about, a lot of people in my life have seen me from that 1 mile all the way up to Ironmans and half marathons and things like that. And so this will be something completely different for me, a completely different format. And I want to kind of continue that thread of trying different things and accomplishing them, especially now in this group setting.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that journey? Like what caused you to have your mental health journey and those kinds of things?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not too abnormal for most. I did have a really, really hard upbringing, a lot of addiction for both of my parents, and that causes you to grow up really young, at least for me. That also affected me as I got older in my mental health. I've always struggled with depression and anxiety. I've been really fortunate. I'm kind of always a go-getter, even in the midst of that. So I'm definitely huge on like therapy and finding if medication speaks to you, the right psychiatrist as well. And I think for me, the missing aspect was really moving my body. There is this saying, I believe it's from Friedrich Nietzsche. And
don't get me saying
yeah,
it. I'm gonna say it even more wrong.
And it really stuck with me. I think in the deepest moments of my depression, it's almost always inside. It's when you're sitting down, it's when you're by yourself and you just feel so alone, and that you're the only person going through this and the only person feeling these feelings. And one of the things that he said that stuck with me is never trust a thought you have indoors. And so that really was a catalyst for me. And it starts so small for most people, like it did for me. Like, just get outside and walk. Just get outside and move your body. And that for me started with that 1 mile. And I realized, okay, that 1 mile makes me feel really good and it makes me feel really accomplished. What does 2 miles feel like? Because it's these things that I always put myself in a box of like, I can never do this. I don't know how to do this. And I think as human beings, we're such negative, mindedly biased people. It really matters how you talk to yourself. And so running and doing these really difficult things changed that narrative in my head.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So when it comes to running this relay, what are you excited about?
Everything. I'm so excited to spend time with other like-minded individuals. I'm so inspired already. I've barely met any of these people and just had like the social network and the social outreach, and everything that you've put together and the people you've put together are so profound to me and their stories. So I'm really excited to make some friends and to do something really difficult together. I'm also really excited to see who I am on the other side of this, since this is something that is so running, yes, is very, very close for me, but not in this format or this style. I've never ran overnight. I've never ran in this like fashion. So I'm really excited to see who I'm going to be in the midst of this and in those gritty moments, and who I will be out on the other side as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you said, because like one of my favorite parts about this project is that it's just a lot of normal people, like hairdresser, bartenders, there are business people, entrepreneurs, yes. But it's just like a mixture of people coming together. I always tell people it's like the real world MTV for runners. And the van, it gets funny and grimy. Is there anything you're nervous about?
I wouldn't say that there's anything that I'm nervous about. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a nervous human being. I love a challenge and I love something new. So honestly, I'm just really excited about it. And, to build on what you said, it's just a bunch of normal people. And I think that's kind of like a cornerstone for me, especially, is like, I want to show people that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And I think this is such a beautiful, beautiful way to do that.
I love that. A lot of times what will happen when we find something that changes our life is naturally it becomes our identity. So it's like, and people make fun of it, and I get it. It's like, oh, you're high rocks, or oh, you're a runner, you're one of those people. And I get why they say that, because we found something that has really impacted our life. And that can be the same for religion or for anything for that matter that impacts your life. But where you're at today, and I know you're a little bit newer to it, but who would you say you are? Who is Robin outside of a hairdresser and a runner?
Yeah, I think that's such a good question. That's something that I think about all the time. I agree with you. These things that we love so much kind of become a little bit of our personality. And I definitely fall victim to that. I think in thinking about that question, I would say I'm a daughter. I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm a community member. Like those are things that are cornerstones to me, just because I care about the people in my life so much and I want to make a positive impact on them.
Yeah, I love that. When you are going through these difficult times, and thank you for being brave to share your story and talk about the reality of like struggling with depression and these things, what are some like protocols that you've learned through therapy or other things that have helped you?
Yeah. It is always the most cliche things. And I think growing up, you kind of want to almost like push those off. You're like, no, that doesn't work on me. I'm the outlier. I'm the different person. And you can be, the two things can be true. But I think the things that have really helped me is definitely moving your body. Obviously, that is such a huge thing, like getting outside and getting outside of your own thoughts. And eating well is another huge thing that has really, really, really impacted me as well. I think there's a huge scientific link between your gut microbiome and your brain. And I've definitely noticed a huge difference in my life from prioritizing whole foods and just eating well. And I think the last part for me as well is community. Like I really felt my whole life, especially with depression and anxiety, like I was saying, it can be so incredibly isolating. Even if that isn't the case, it feels like you're the only person, you're going through this alone. And with running, I'm so incredibly appreciative of it because I found the thing that made the most sense to me. And then I found the people that go along with it. And I know that I wouldn't be where I am today without that community. And I think it's so important to find what you love and to find the people that you love doing it with.
Yeah, absolutely. Our goal is really to normalize these conversations, and we're doing this podcast. We're going to do like a short film of y'all. And what do you hope, like someone watching you and they're like, man, look at her. She's running this thing. She finished it all the way from Dallas to Austin. What is your hope that someone watching, they take away from your journey in particular?
I hope that people are inspired. I hope that people know that with my background, like I only started running a little over a year ago. And I know that I've been so fortunate through like grit to accomplish these things. And I meet so many people, like I was saying, that are like, I can't do this, I can't do that. And really it is all in your mind. And the second you unlock that and you're like, okay, you have to kind of play devil's advocate. Like, I can't do this. What if I can? What if I can accomplish this? And then it kind of is like this unlocked the second chapter or like the second part of my life. Like once I got over that negative mindset, I can't get up early, I can't do this. Like it is so amazing what the human body and the human mind can accomplish, especially through, again, it's so cliche, but being positive, like I can run this and I can do this, or I can accomplish these crazy things. And I think it's just so important to continue having that positive, like, yes, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to push farther. Like it really is all so mental. And one thing that has really inspired me this year is like, I think our bodies are capable of just about anything. It's your mind that you have to really like either unlock or go really, really deep into.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we end, I am interested, like, what was your lifestyle like? Because you say you just got into running a year ago. Like, what were you doing right before you started running?
I mean,
what did it look like?
The dichotomy is pretty interesting. I was a classic like service industry. I was a partier. I loved to go and drink. I loved to go out. I thought at that time, and that's like another interesting thing about life I always say is like it always makes sense in like living it forward, but it makes most sense in reverse. And at that time I was like, this is what you do. You do hair, you work in the service industry, and then you go out and you unwind. And I think for me, it was just always so hollow, especially in relation to what running has always given me and like what drinking and going out and partying does. I think sometimes especially in relation to suicide. It obviously is a huge conversation about taking your life in a moment. And I think what I've also learned is that you can slowly kill yourself as well. And that is through the means of numbing yourself. And that was something that was very familiar to me, unfortunately, because of my upbringing and because of what I had seen. And so it was like slipping on an old pair of shoes. It's, you kind of repeat what you've seen. And I think for me, breaking out of that was running and completely changing my life. It taught me to prioritize like my health and wellness, to say no to things, and especially to say no to drinking. That was a really huge shift in my life as well.
What sparked that shift?
I was at kind of like my lowest. I think, like you said, everyone hits a rock bottom. And for me, it was, I started running last February, and it was last like December, January. I saw a photo of me. I will preface that with saying I have also struggled a lot of my life with like my own body dysmorphia. And this wasn't one of those moments though. It was like I saw a photo of myself, and I truly, it's painful to talk about, but I truly didn't recognize myself. Like, I was the heaviest that I had ever been. I was super like puffy and bloated in my face, and it makes me sad, but there was just like nothing going on in my eyes. And I had that moment of like, do I want my life to look like my parents' life? And do I want to go down this road, or do I want to change it? And I realized, looking in the mirror, the only person standing in my way was myself. And I really had to get out of my own way. And I really had to shed all of these things that I think are very, and there's nothing wrong with it, but like very normalized in our culture, drinking and unwinding. And that's great for some people. But I think for me and who I am, that did not benefit me in any way, shape, or form. It's a depressant. It slipped me deeper into these moments. And it's so interesting. I think we want to drink and, socialize, and we think it's this connective thing. But the more I like sought or like chased that dragon of connectivity, the further away I actually felt from myself and from people. So yeah, to answer your question, it was seeing that photo and realizing that mentally, physically, emotionally, and otherwise, I was at the lowest point in my life, and I had to do something to change it. And for me and my personality, it was this completely radical opposite, which is like taking care of my health and my wellness and my mental health. So
yeah, absolutely. Such a great example of like Jackson had shared this about like changing your mind and changing your environment, and you literally did that. And kudos to you for being brave enough to, it really is like that first step.
It is.
And people don't realize, like, when you battle with depression and anxiety, I mean, I've talked to people where it's like picking your head up off the pillow is so difficult. And we're here to like spark that for people, that hey, we just want, if you can pick your head up off the pillow, maybe you can get out of the bed today. Maybe you can tie your shoes, maybe you could go for a walk, and then maybe you could do what Robin does and like just full send it, high rocks, Ironman. Like, so just, man, I got the chills. Like, I'm proud of you as a brother, as a friend, just to see you as a human doing it and doing the art of doing something about it. So I'm excited that you're on the team. And man, if you want to see Robin finish with the others and continue to watch her journey and her story, make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow along. And if you want to learn more about Sayless Projects, go to saylessprojects.com. And most importantly, keep going.